going through the whole ritual things that we normally do for the regular meetings. So I'm opening the meeting at 6:30. And Marisa, we'll talk a little bit on meetings and so on, but just keep notes for yourself on this, so we're not going to publish minutes or anything like that. And we do have a requirement for citizens' comments, and we only have one. Do you have anything to say?
Actually, I do. I wasn't really planning, but anyhow, when the formation of this group came before the council, one of the things that I had actually requested, and I'm not a business owner or anything, but I had requested that membership through the bylaws be allowed for any person who owned a business within inside the city of Floresville, regardless of whether or not they had lived in the city of Floresville. At that point in time, Councilman Tejada opposed it because I think he has at least one person in mind. That person is no longer a factor. And so I'm just asking that you consider that kind of a change to your bylaws.
We were talking about that, Marisa and I, because particularly the one previously mentioned, Bill Atkins, doesn't live within the geographic area, but he represents, or he is with the school system, or school system. We're going to talk about it. We don't change anything like that here, but we can recommend it to the board.
Yes.
But I even remember when you said that. Another one that I think we need to kind of look at would be the Chamber of Commerce, and that's the one you were referring to. The other, aside from the school and the chamber, I think what we've got is probably as good as anything, because they're representing a given second. Okay, let me go ahead and start the meeting, ma'am. I had in my agenda to you folks, I don't know, Ryan, did you get a copy of
I
this?
got what you had sent, Bill.
Okay. Anyway, I had an item in there, introduction of self by us members. Do you think that's, how do you feel about that?
Perfect, let's do it.
Okay. Let me, if you don't mind, I'll start myself. It's not going to take very long, but I'm passionate about my background. I think that I'm probably one of the real blessed individuals that I've had such a vast and rich experience. I was born to sharecropper parents. Everybody knows what sharecroppers are, right? That's when you do the work, but you don't own the place, and you get half, hopefully, of what gets produced. Started school in a two-room schoolhouse out in the country. Does everybody know where Fairview is? Webbville community, a little bit on this side. And grew up in the Lodi community, actually. I went over there for a couple of years, and then we moved to town. My dad did, and my mother, of course. And I went to Lodi for 8th grade, went to high school, graduated from there, married in 1958, my high school sweetheart. Never forget that. And then I had some schooling beyond that. I have a BA and an MA from St. Mary's. And this is all about working full-time, raising a family, no outside help, no grants, nothing like that. My MA is in psychology and my BA in political science. And I had a wonderful career with the Air Force as a civilian. Started out at Kelly in 1964, worked there for 12 years and had just, you name it. I was in personnel. In fact, my 30 years in civil service were in human resources, personnel in those days. And I had the whole graph of that. In 76, I went to Randolph Air Force Base and I became the civilian personnel officer over there, which is really the highest ranking civilian on base. Again, very great experience, everything that you can imagine doing for human resources and representing the base commander and the wing commander with all the community activities. Had a servicing population, or serviced population of 3,500 and a staff of about 61. And then, of course, I have been volunteering all my life. I believe in that, and I appreciate people like yourself that do that. I started, of course, like every parent, coaching. And that was everything. I guess you've been there, and you guys have been there too. You know, from, you name it, soccer to football to whatever. And then also, I was, and here more in line with my job, because as civilian personnel officer, they want us to do all the representing for the base when it comes to civilians, and particularly the outside population. So I became a school board member, Ryan, back in in the late seventies for Randolph Air Force Base, and you know how that works over there. It's a very limited school district, all military. And then after that, I've done some other work after retirement in '94. I served on the Crisis Center, do you know what that is, helpline, with the United Way for 2 years. Rich experience, very gratifying, very challenging. Before I came here, again voluntarily, I was on the Policemen's and Firefighters Civil Service Commission for San Antonio for 3 years. I would have stayed there longer, but I had to live over there and I was coming over here, so I had to quit. And then I came here and I started doing the same thing. I've been with FEDC, a little bit of a break there since 2009. I'm still with them right now, and of course, right here. But the most important thing in my life has been the following: 58 years as a husband, 1 wife, 56 years as a father, 4, and 36 years as a grandfather, 8, and 17 years, you can believe this, as a great-grandfather, and I have 5 of those. So again, I say, wonderful, rich experience, not all, just grapes and plums and all of that, but it's been wonderful for me. Thank you for this.
I'm Tommy Baker. I'm the Economic Development Director for Floresville. I grew up on my family's ranch near Houston. When I say ranch, the people that are without land get these ideas about the ranch and a big, huge, it wasn't like that. We had 700 acres and we raised cattle, but no one could afford to live on the ranch full time. We all, I went to school. I worked for 85 cents an hour, mowing weeds and doing everything on earth. And by the time I got ready to go to college, I was totally burned out on ranch life, and I haven't looked back since. But I went through ROTC because the Vietnam era was going on, and nobody knows this except the people that actually lived back then, that there's a selective service and the way they selected people back during the Vietnam War was a lottery, and my birthday was number 65 out of 365, so I knew as soon as I graduated, I lost my deferment and I was going to go in. So I picked up ROTC and I graduated as a distinguished military graduate, and served a couple of years as an armor officer, and then moved my family, or my wife and I, back to Austin, raised 2 girls there, and I was involved in trust real estate banking, commercial brokerage of every kind. Management, leasing, sales, and then from there I ran a facility services company that I was able to grow from probably $1 million to $4 million in about 3 years, and we diversified and expanded, and then the owners wanted to sell, and so I went from there to being the regional director for Small Business Development Center out in Odessa, Midland, and 16 counties that are around there. But it was an exciting assignment because at the time oil was 40 going to 120, so we were able to help a lot of people start their own businesses and expand them, because money was not a problem. Like welders in the oil field were making $120,000 a year, so we'd have people that wanted, the wife was bored in a little dusty West Texas town and wanted to open a cleaners and laundry, and they didn't need financing, and it just, you know, they would just finance it out of their back pocket. So it was fun getting to meet these people and help them through their dreams of owning businesses and so forth. And then I went from there to executive director for the Belton Economic Development Corporation. After that, my wife and I were unpaid, but we had a terminally ill parent, and so we nursed her for a couple of years, and then I came down here. I have a BBA in business, a bachelor's, and an MBA, a master's in business. So I've run companies, I've you know, done a lot of diversified jobs, but overall, I think that my work experience has been involved in economic development, whether it's bringing people in or expanding or creating businesses that that create primary jobs, and that I see as economic development as well. So I'm trying to do that here in Floresville, and Fred's on my board, and you know, we have our challenges, but we're getting through those, and so it's a real positive environment right now. That's it.
Before you start, we have some water here courtesy of Donnie Baker, so
Thank you.
you go.
Grab,
You go ahead.
yeah, grab whatever you want.
Well, Marissa Jimenez, I was raised here in Floresville. Graduated from Floresville High School in 2002. Was all about schoolwork then, as my parents had raised me to never come home with anything less than a 90. So needless to say, I graduated with distinguished honors and gained many scholarships to go to St. Mary's University, where I attended my bachelor's degree, and I received a bachelor's of psychology there. While I was there, I joined many organizations and helped join many committees to help plan different organization activities. So I like to think that I come in with that aspect of knowing how to work in an organization, knowing about all the different details that it takes to plan and to put things on and to look at things from different viewpoints, and to know that I still have contacts of people who do lots of different things for organizations and plannings, and people that publish in some of the newspapers in San Antonio, and talk about all the different events that go on in San Antonio. I still feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what goes on, and I do like to keep myself involved. After I received my bachelor's, I entered Texas State University to work on my specialist degree. I'm a licensed school psychologist, and from there, while I was at Texas State, I worked at an autism clinic, and I went into Austin and worked at one of the schools in Austin. And then I started my internship in Bastrop, where I worked in their special education department. And I would go from Bastrop to Smithville to LaGrange, so I worked with a wide variety of students. And in my field, I do lots of many things that go from counseling to sitting in with administrators and talking about students and planning their education. And I had always said I'm not going to come back. I love the city. Oh, I love Austin. It's so great. And then I decided to come back home as I got a little older, and I came home with a different perspective, and seeing how other cities are and how they work and the types of people. It makes you appreciate where you come from. It's like, man, I kind of miss home, and I miss seeing people, and I miss people saying, hey, I know your parents. How are your parents doing? Hey, how's your cousin doing? And it's good to see you. And I missed that. I didn't realize it until, I go out and venture, and then I decide, no, I think I really want to come back. So I did. Came back, and I was in Lavernia for a little bit, and then Poth called me, and so I went to Poth in 2012. And I'm currently entering my 4th year of Director of Special Education and Special Programs, so I do I oversee the entire program, and other programs of English as a second language, some of their teaching programs, their intervention programs. So I work a lot with students with special needs. I do a lot of behavior interventions. I also consult with a professor from Corpus. So I'll go and do different trainings with him at different regional centers in the state. Since I've been at POSE, I'm an administrator there, and I have worked a lot with all the other administrators and the superintendent, and I've joined all of their planning committees. You know, they want to make changes, and I feel like I come with a different perspective, coming from larger